Hey and welcome, I'm Hammeh, and in this series we're discovering more about the lore and characters of Overwatch's heroes, including more detail through their in-game voice lines and interactions. Before any map starts and during the game on various triggers, Overwatch heroes chatter with and react to each other in some funny in-game voice interactions. These give us some great insights into hero character, interests and backstories. In this video we're looking at Zarya's story, through her interactions with fellow heroes and the world around her. If she's not the strongest woman in the world, Aleksandra Zaryanova is certainly up there with the greats. Currently fighting what may be part of a second Omnic Crisis in Siberia, Zarya's had to sacrifice a shot at the sporting big time to protect her family and country. From experience of the first Omnic Crisis in her childhood, distrust of Omnics burns in Zarya's blood. With Omnics attacking her homeland once more, whether her feelings will ever change remains to be seen. Firstly, we'll go through Zarya's lore and story. When the first Omnic Crisis struck, different countries fought back against the robot threat in different ways. Germany bought the Crusader armour online, allowing people like Reinhardt to fight the Omnics toe-to-toe. The USA already had their soldier enhancement program in progress, with soldiers such as Jack Morrison and Gabriel Reyes stepping up and ready to deal with the threat. Russia, however, chose to fight the Omnics head-on, using both manpower and Sviatogor mechs. Produced by VOICELINES Industries, these human-piloted giant walkers were a key part of Russia's defence. When the Siberian Omnium went rogue along with others around the world, the resulting crisis nearly lasted for 4 years. In the midst of this world under siege, Aleksandra Zaryanova was born, in a remote Siberian village, in one of the least densely populated areas on the planet. Although she was only 2 years old when the Omnic Crisis finished, Zarya's childhood years would have been spent in the very middle of the destruction the fighting had caused. Although the Russian Defence Force defeated the robots and succeeded in shutting down their Omnium, the region was devastated by the conflict. For most of the world, Overwatch had been the solution, but apparently Russia in many ways either had to or chose to go it alone. Although the nation's pride and independence saw it through, it got the scars to match from the conflict. Zarya's village was on the front line, presumably must have suffered as a result. Growing up amidst the ruin, recovery and rebuilding, Aleksandra swore that she would find the strength of will and purpose to contribute to her community and nation's recovery. Dedicating herself to bodybuilding and weightlifting, Aleksandra's potential was scouted quickly. Picked out by the National Athletics Programme as a future talent, years of hard work and training propelled her swiftly up the ranks on the global competitive scene, putting her on the brink of destroying long-standing lifting records in an upcoming World Championships. As the event was about to begin, disaster struck. The long-dormant Omnium in Siberia became active once more and launched attacks, thrusting Zarya's home region into chaos and conflict once again. Aleksandra immediately felt the call of duty and withdrew from the championship she'd been training for years to compete in, rushing home to enlist in the Russian Defence Forces. With any potential life of sporting fortune and fame now on hold, if not lost, Zarya proudly serves, a symbol of the fierce national pride and independence that drove Russia to combat the first Omnic Crisis to some, a stalwart fellow soldier to others. Symbols are definitely important in Overwatch's Russia, in a country which is mindful of the Omnic or other potential enemies within, from posters in VOICELINES Industries. Russia's celebration of their skilled craftsmen and fighters in the war is an important focus for morale as part of the war effort. Whether for propaganda or as recognition of her still large public profile, Zarya is a symbol both across Russia and the world of Russia's fight against the Omnics once more. Whether being interviewed on Atlas News, being featured in magazine interviews, or on huge posters adorning the factories of her country, Zarya's main focus isn't attention. It's to use her great strength to protect the one she loves. Hefting a particle cannon that only someone with her huge power could potentially wield, Zarya's right on the Krasnoyarsk front in Russia continues. As the second Omnic Crisis shows no signs of slowing, it remains to be seen what's next for Zaryanova, any future sporting career she could have, and whether her role in the ongoing conflict might change. Time will tell. Personality-wise, Zarya's not short on confidence. She knows how good she is at what she does.
I am the strongest woman in the world.
And from her years of training, she's definitely got a huge work ethic and the maxims to match.
Hard work is its own reward. Perseverance is the key. Just like in training.
Now, Zarya seems equally willing to give out advice, but I'm not sure if I'd like her as a personal trainer. She'd be quite the taskmaster.
Are you in need of personal training? Get down and give me 20. Be sure to stretch before engaging in rigorous physical activity.
From her experience of the post-Omnic Crisis world, Zarya definitely reflects on her role and what she's trying to achieve, although she can have a little bit of a joke about how she's trying to achieve it.
Never forget the fallen. Peace through superior firepower.
Zarya doesn't have a huge amount of burns, but she'll mostly brag and take people on in terms of her strength.
My strength is much greater than yours. I can bench more than you.
Now she does have a fair few lines, does Zarya. The first one's one of her voice lines, which I always find hilarious.
I want to hug you like big, fuzzy Siberian bear.
That would be quite a bear hug. And Zarya's also, unsurprisingly, got a reasonably good line in gun puns, just like these.
Check out this gun. Welcome to the gun show. I won the arms race.
And finally, pulling out everyone's favourite weightlifting related meme.
Do you even lift?
There's another few lines. She also goes for another classic meme in a few different ways. Loving a bit of that, Family Guy?
In my world, bench presses you. In Russia, much makes you. In Russia, game plays you.
Okay, time for a very short reference game. Couple of ones here for Zarya for you. As always, I'll give you a little bit of time afterwards so you can try guess.
From Russia, with love.
Fairly straightforward one that, just referring to the James Bond film From Russia with Love.
I will catch that moose and squirrel.
Now I had no idea about this one, but apparently it's from a cartoon called Rocky and Bullwinkle. Shown in the 50s and 60s for the first time, a moose and a flying squirrel are the two things that need to be caught. The main adversaries of these two are Russian-like spies Boris Badenov and Natasha Fatal, so kinda makes sense. As a child of the Omnic Crisis, Zarya's most likely not met most of the cast of Overwatch unless they've either been fighting in Russia or on the international weightlifting circuit. She does however have a few interactions with some characters, giving more depth to her feelings about Omnics and her lighter side too. Zarya's seen a lot as a child and in her current battles as to what devastation Omnics can wreak, so it's no surprise that she reserves special contempt for Bastion. As an Omnic and to many the symbol of the Omnic Crisis, Bastion units were feared all over the world and they're still represented in the War Memorial in VOICELINES Industries. Zarya's quick to point out her combat prowess, and it also sounds like Bastion units are potentially once again being used in the second Omnic Crisis, if this is a canon statement. Poor Bastion.
I have destroyed more of your kind than I can count.
Zarya's mistrust of Omnics extends to even the serene Zenyatta. Clearly his Shambali beliefs and practice haven't succeeded in persuading her to trust the nature of Omnics, if they have met. However, her threat is met by the most zen of zen responses from Zenyatta. What a guy.
I'll have my eye on you, Omnic.
And I will watch your back in turn.
Zarya's mistrust of Omnics could extend to cyborgs too, and in an interaction with Genji, the very fact of his dual nature isn't something she's very comfortable with. Genji explains how he comes to philosophically view it though.
How do I trust a man who is half machine?
The heart of a man still beats inside me.
Although she may never have met any Overwatch team members given Russia's apparently independent fighting of the first Omnic Crisis, Zarya may well have looked up to Reinhardt. If the two were to meet, I could totally see Zarya issuing this challenge, and Reinhardt responding in the same way.
Reinhardt, you said you would arm wrestle me. Nervous?
Nervous? Me? Never!
Now I need a quick source on these, but this sounds like an interaction between Zarya and Reinhardt. I can see Zarya mocking Reinhardt, and Reinhardt issuing his usual strong response. Do let me know if I'm wrong.
That hammer doesn't look so heavy.
Keep training, and maybe someday you could learn to handle a real weapon!
Finally, is this when Zarya sees Reinhardt or 76 score a kill? Both are old men.
Not bad, old man. I think I've got this, old man.
Mei and Zarya probably wouldn't have met in the Overwatch storyline, but both are equally used to dealing with the cold in terms of where they've lived and voyaged. Mei can't really understand how Zarya gets away with just an armoured vest though.
Zarya, I don't understand how you can fight in the cold wearing so little.
I'll tell you my secret, if you give me your coat.
Zarya may have travelled the world of Overwatch in her training and competition while she lifted, but we're not sure how much or where to at this point. She does have a couple of world interaction lines showing her feelings about Omnics again, and also reflecting on her links to Russia. Numbani is of course a city where humans and Omnics coexist peacefully, and this is very foolish to Zarya given her past and present experience. I don't think they'd have a unity day in Russia or Siberia.
The humans who live here are fools to trust the Omnics. They will see.
Finally, on Volskaya, the home of the Svatogor mech production, Zarya goes into a very long speech in Russian.
Быть может. У человека 100 чувств, и со смертью погибают только 5, известны нам, а остальные 95 остаются живы.
Now, apparently this translates into a quote. Maybe in fact a human has 100 senses, and with his death only 5 known to us will die. The other 95 stay alive. This quote's from a play by the famous playwright Chekhov from one of his noted plays called The Cherry Orchard, in a scene in which the characters are musing on the nature of death and reality. Maybe our Aleksandra is a bit of a philosopher. Deep, Zarya, very deep. Thanks so much for tuning in to my Hero Voiceline and Story series. Do check out the playlist linked here on the left for more videos like this of hero lore, voice lines and interactions. If you like this video, please hit that like button below, subscribe and comment with what you enjoyed, what lines you enjoy most, and what heroes you'd like to see covered next. Do you think that Zarya will get over her hatred of Omnics? Will she become part of the Overwatch fighting force? I'd really appreciate to hear what you think. I've got a whole bunch of quick hero guides, Overwatch news, Easter eggs, map lore, and much more on the channel too, so do check it out. Until next time, I've been Hammeh, take it easy.